get well quickly, heal quickly. The Dallas show, Chris, while it no longer has an open event in it, it does have a 212 event that I see was super competitive. And the new Giant Killer, Shawn Clarita, wins that one in a very, very tough lineup, beating Charles the Tank Dixon. And as you pointed out to me earlier when we were talking about this, Dixon looked pretty damn good at that show.
Yeah, no, it's a tremendous win for Shawn because, one, it's a win. Two, it gets him qualified for the Olympia. Three, he beat a ridiculously deep. I mean, all these 212 shows are deep. We sound like a broken record. They're all deep. But four, he got by Tank Dixon, and this was a really, really good Tank Dixon. I mean, sometimes, we get different versions of Tank. Usually they are some version of massive and very hard, and this was essentially massive and super hard.
Yeah.
So it's a testament to Shawn's, Wheeler-like body, that was, able to get the win. He's only little by himself. It's weird, right? He's like small. If you saw him in a tank top, he's kind of small if you see him by himself. But when he gets next to people, I don't think, his weight, in quote, size is an issue at all.
Yeah, to me, I like Shawn. He's a friend. I consider him a friend. He's got a great physique. I think Dixon has got a lot more mass than Shawn. But Shawn has a crisper look to his physique. That's about the best way I can describe it. I don't know if it's because Dixon's a little older and Shawn is younger than him, but Shawn's got that nice skin still. Everything pops. If you look at pictures of Shawn, he looks small. But you see him in person, and he appears way bigger than he really is. I think that's what the point you were trying to make. He doesn't look small when he's dynamically moving in the lineup. Farnsworth's the same way. Farnsworth appears a lot bigger than he does in person. Then you look at the pictures, and you're like, how the hell did this guy beat everyone? But, when you're that conditioned and your symmetry is that good, it looks impressive on stage when the person is moving.
Yeah, ironically, they were the last call-out, Farnsworth and Clarita, in Vancouver a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They went 1-2.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy.
And you're right, Dave, because they both, if you see them in pictures by themselves, a critical eye might say they don't carry enough mass, or how did these guys beat that guy? But in real life, they both have, the muscle bellies and wow, that when they're in great shape, that negate a lot of muscle.
And just for the record, it was a 1-point decision. So it was certainly not a blowout. It was a one. That means half the judges thought Clarita had it, and half the judges thought Dixon.
I'm glad it was a 1-point decision.
Why?
Because I was going to say Tank Dixon's going to be pissed that he's that big and in condition and losing, and yet, just by going by pictures, you can go through the pictures, and if you're a mass guy, you can say definitely Dixon. And if you like if you like a Wheeler-like physique, you can say definitely Clarita.
Right.
And it comes down to opinions on those two. And so it's interesting that it was those opinions of the judges were that close.
Yeah. And Dobry Delev, who was in third, was no slouch either in the lineup. Maybe not the pretty shape that the other two had, but he's got mass and he's got conditioning. So, I mean, he was right up there. So, a very competitive 212 lineup here in Dallas, for sure. They got to be thrilled. It's funny. You and I foo-fooed the fact that there was no men's open left in Dallas anymore. That was always the show that anchored that. Everyone. We could think of some great champions from that Dallas show over the years. Tony Freeman won that a number of times, and now we thought, well, the competition's not as good, but the 212s really have stepped up to the plate, and they really have shown that they can carry a show on their own.
Well, they carry it, and it's not 6 deep. You know what I mean? It's a lot of competitors, and the guy who gets fourth to last is tremendous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Johnny just had a picture of Ed Pariso and his family up there. He's got the whole it's like a family affair now, because they got the 4 shows. They got Phoenix, they got Dallas, they have Charlotte, and Orlando, and so it's a full. He built a huge business for his family now to take over. Even though Ed is sick, it doesn't matter because the wheels are in motion. He's not the only guy doing everything like he used to be in the past. Him and Betty used to do everything themselves. Now they have a staff, and it's pretty incredible what they built. Because I remember when they first started that show. I think I quizzed you last week. It was originally called the Southwest Pro Show, and they built it into an amateur show, and then the Europa people jumped on board, and it became the Dallas Europa Super Show, and then they said, well, we're going to start one in Orlando. And I remember people were saying, this is never going to work because Orlando was like kind of dead the first year. And they were persistent. Ed said, I'm going to Orlando because that's where I'm from. And then they expanded to Phoenix, and I remember that first show, and people were foo-fooing that because no one ever is successful in Arizona, and they made that work. And then that one show that was in Hartford, it went to Atlantic City. Now it's in Charlotte, which is the home headquarters of the Europa distribution company. And it seems like that found an excellent place there in North Carolina. So congratulations to everyone that weekend. I'm just looking over some of the placings here. Nathalia Abraham, I remember at the Nationals 2 years ago, footage of Clarita. As you can see, looking at him in this video, you can't see it, Chris, but he's so much bigger, he appears, in video and as he's moving. I mean, his legs really came up a lot. His arms, shoulders, and back came up a lot. You're right, he's like a little Flex Wheeler almost, a short, like a pocket Flex Wheeler, I'd call him.
Yeah, he's tremendous. He's tremendous. I love his physique. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
Anyone who thinks this guy's not, he's like going to be a Dexter at the Olympia. You watch. People don't come in at their best. He's going to get by him.
He's going to keep. He'll keep growing. He might wind up in the open class before it's all over.
Yeah. He'll be another. Imagine that another Dexter was saying. Remember when Shawn Clarita was 167? He was winning 12 shows. Who would have ever thought?
And Dexter will still be competing too around then.
Of course, Dexter.
It'll be 10 years from now. Dexter will be 60 on stage. Dexter will be 60 years old.
The only thing that stop Dexter in the next 3 years, isn't it?
If you had a guess,
you know what I mean. Even if Dexter.
I think we're losing Chris there over there.
No.
Can you hear me? Oh, we lost him. All right. Let me talk.